Hello everybody and welcome to another one in our series Breaking Down Barriers. My name is Chris Igwe and I use this book as the backdrop to our conversation Breaking Down Barriers, my journey from a small African village to the world stage, Breaking Down Barriers. I take you through a chapter, very briefly, some ideas and thoughts, and we can share that together and see how that can impact your own life and help you develop and grow in whatever avenue you're looking at. This particular chapter is entitled Learn to Negotiate. Learn to negotiate. Now, when I start off with that, and I know that a lot of people don't like negotiating. They don't believe that they have the skill, the ability, the knowledge, the insight, the awareness to be able to negotiate. And yet, we negotiate all the time. When we started out as babies or toddlers and grew up, we spent all our time without specifically knowing that we were negotiating necessarily consciously, but that's exactly what we were doing. I'm sure many of you remember to your own childhood when you were growing up and you wanted something from your parents. You'd probably go to mum first, or dad, it doesn't really matter. See what they say, maybe get what you want, and you know that the other person may not necessarily agree. So you negotiate with or ask the person that you want, and then that person says yes, and then that's it. You feel you've done it. So from a young age, we learn to negotiate in all stages of our life, family, school, and then we go on to work and various other situations. So what about you? How open to you are you to negotiating and learning about negotiation? I've spent my entire life, and I have a vast number of books that I've bought. I've been on training programs. I've studied a long, long time ago. I don't do them anymore. If anything, I give trainings on negotiation to various global companies with their various teams, because I've learned to negotiate from a theory point of view and then into practice. And I continue to practice it all the time. I don't normally share the stories necessarily in the book, because I'd love you to go and get the book itself and learn more about some of these items and thoughts and my own personal stories. But one that I do share in the book and in this particular chapter is a negotiation that I had to with my future father-in-law, where I asked for his daughter's hand in marriage. And the short version is he actually wanted me to not get engaged to her for 2 years. We hadn't even talked about marriage, but he didn't want me to get engaged for 2 years. My wife is Scottish, so maybe there was a cultural thing going on as well. There are many other aspects, but 2-year wait to get engaged when you know you want to get married, and that's the reason I'm asking the question. It doesn't make any sense. So then we got into a negotiation, and I got him down to 1 month, which I thought was pretty cool, pretty amazing, because he's a tough negotiator, ran his own business, family business, and so he spent all his time negotiating. But that's where, amongst the many things, the many layers, I had this looking back and saying, how did I manage it? What did I do? What were the tools that I used? What were the words that I shared? And that's how you can work back and understand how negotiation can help. I have quotes in the book, and one of them it's a famous quote and one of the most significant quotes ever on negotiation by John F. Kennedy, President of the United States. And he said, "Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate." Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. Now, there are many aspects that you can take and dissect what he's just said and what I've just shared with you. But one of the fundamental things here is do not fear to negotiate. You might get it wrong. You may not get the price down that you want, or you may not get the price up. You may not get what it is that you're asking for in that negotiation. But the fear of trying it is worse, because you will never know how far you can get to. You never know what you can achieve through that negotiation process. Another personal example, my wife, for example, doesn't like me to negotiate things when we go out and we're on vacation, which we are now, for example. We go to markets, we go to different places, and there might be something that she really wants or really likes. And it's up to me to negotiate the best price. Because when you're out and especially you're traveling to certain cultures and and areas of the world where negotiation is part of what they do, so it's a common practice, then she might want something, and my job is to make sure that A, I don't lose, that she gets what she wants, but I get the best price. And on occasions when I know she really liked something, I would say to her, okay, how far can I go? And very often she'd actually walk away because she just can't take this backwards and forwards negotiate, because I will sit there and I will do my best to get the best possible deal out of it, because it became a game. It is a game. Negotiation is a game, a serious game, don't get me wrong, but it's a game. It's how can you outperform the other person. And there are different forms of negotiation. There are those who take a position, it's all or nothing. I want that deal and these are the terms I want it. So kind of a full throttle, that's the way. Or there's a style which is very different, which is more my style. It's okay, how can I feed your need? What is your need compared to mine? And how can we find and make that work? So negotiation is vast, it's complex, depending on the stakes. When I'm looking, for example, in my business, and I negotiate, for example, on behalf of retailers or brands, and I was part of 2 brands and I used to negotiate real estate. But when I'm negotiating for my clients, I would often say to my client, okay, you really want that deal? How far can I go to get that deal? They've got to give me a point where they say, you can't go beyond this line. And that's okay with me. Then I will push until I get to that. Equally, if they want to give up the real estate, so they want to sell it, I say, how far can I go for this real estate that you own in order to get the deal done? So understand what the parameters are within which you are working. But that's just to give you a little bit of the landscape. But there could be other places in life. It doesn't have to be as big as real estate deals or anything like that. It could be your luggage, which happens so much today. Your luggage is lost. I remember back in the day, a long time ago, an airline would lose your luggage or eventually find it. And they'd say to you, we found it, come and get it at the airport. My position was no. Today it doesn't happen anymore, but back in the day it was like, I'm not coming to the airport to pick it up. You lost it, you bring it to my home or bring it to my hotel. So simple things like that. Delayed flight. What compensation can you get? What compensation are you entitled to? These are all different things that are part of the negotiation process that you need to look at and consider and say, okay, let me take the simplest ones. Let me deal with those and see how I can achieve my objectives through that. That's what I want you to do through this video. I don't want you to take on, if you're do negotiation all the time, fantastic. How can you become even better, perform at a higher level, and have a lot of fun out of it? If you're not used to it, I want you to get on this ladder, because it is part of your life, your career, your experience, your relationships. Everything is a negotiation. It's a question of how much of a negotiation it ends up being. When I started working, and I've worked in various different companies, one of the things that I enjoyed most, beyond negotiating my contract and my salary and bonus and maybe stock options and all that sort of stuff, but one of my biggest negotiations that I enjoyed most, if you like, was actually negotiating for my company car. Again, back in the day when company cars were a big deal and status, everything else, but I just enjoyed the fun of negotiating for my company car. And with one company that I joined, I actually ended up getting the best car in the company, because I negotiated, I got them to increase the budget and everything else, and I went for my favorite brand of car, the BMW, and I got the BMW 528i, which was new at that time. It had just come out. And my car was even more fantastic than the CEO's, and I negotiated with him as well. So whenever he saw my car in the car park, he would say, Chris, can I have the keys? It's a company car, so what can I say? Give him the keys and he takes off and drives wherever. But I love negotiating for company cars to get the very best that I could within a budget that was given to me. Obviously, it wasn't a Ferrari or Lamborghini or anything like that, but you could get some nice cars, and with the equipment as well inside compared to just what the car might look like on the outside. So make negotiating fun. Make it a part of what you do every single day. And here also I have one of my critical thinking questions, which I have in each of the chapters. And this one is, I say negotiation is critical to everything you do. So what are you going to do to hone your skills in this area? What are you going to do to hone your skills in this area? That's a question for you. I can't answer that. Are you going to make more of an effort to address it? Are you going to buy books that help you? Are you going to attend online courses and seminars? Or are you just going to say, negotiation is fine, I'll come back at it another time? Because I guarantee you are missing out on so much. And in a world, wrapping up with one final story, when we moved, for example, to France, to the Netherlands, my wife found the house. I never saw the house until we actually signed a few months later. But entire negotiation between the realtor or the estate agent, with the lawyers, the bank to raise the mortgage, everything was done in the warm seat of my home. Not because I didn't want to, but I couldn't. I couldn't find the time to go to help sort this out physically one-to-one. So how do you do it at a distance? Today, it's even more critical in today's world to negotiate at a distance. That should not prevent you from achieving the objectives that you want. So I'd strongly encourage you, think of how you can negotiate, how can you improve your skills and knowledge, because I guarantee it'll make a whole difference to you. You'll have fun doing it, you'll enjoy the process, and you'll learn some stuff, and then look at some of the great negotiators out there, political, business, maybe friends, maybe in your company. What do they do? What are the skills that they have acquired, either by a natural process or they've studied it? But I can reassure you that this is one of the most important skills that you will have in life, not just in business. So I encourage you to go out and find your own route to becoming a better, very much more accomplished negotiator. And in the meantime, I wish you all the best. Please feel free to like, share and comment and subscribe to the channel so you can have the pleasure of some other videos when they become available. So until then, thank you.